Hey everybody, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger bringing you the one and only keto without the crazy. Today I have a very interesting question and hopefully some helpful answers for you. How do you know when you're hungry? And I know some of you are probably thinking, what a dumb question. What do you mean, how do you know when you're hungry and then you go eat? Yeah, for some of you, it is that simple and straightforward. However, for many, many other people, it is genuinely difficult to know when we are truly actually hungry as opposed to craving sugar or just feeling like eating, just wanting to eat. So, lots to cover here, and I'll try to not have this video be too long. So, let me just again reiterate that this is so very not a dumb question. I think in the modern food environment, where our appetite has been so wildly hijacked buy foods that are, ultra high in sugar, ultra processed, that send our blood sugar and insulin skyrocketing and then crashing, and we're on that roller coaster all day. I think it's actually very logical to wonder when we're actually hungry versus when our brain is being tricked into thinking we need food. And even more so than that, those of you that have had bariatric surgery have probably lost some of the natural signaling that would otherwise give you some of those indications that it's time to eat. So if you're in that situation, again, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. What you're experiencing in the loss of those sensations and signals is the completely logical result of the surgery that you had. So what you're experiencing is totally logical under that circumstance. And then there's all the rest of us that have not had bariatric surgery, but who maybe were yo-yo dieting for years or on diet roller coasters and following plans and programs that actively discouraged us from following our natural hunger, right? If you were beholden to some kind of point limit or calorie limit, and once you reach that limit, you're done eating for the day, no more food for you, even if you're actually hungry, then of course it makes perfect sense that we don't know how to listen to or how to trust our hunger signals because for so long we deliberately ignored them, right? Oh, I know none of you knows what I'm talking about, or none of you have ever done that. Tried to suppress or ignore your hunger because, oh, I'm out of points for the day or calories or what have you. So that's my way of just saying again that this is not a dumb question at all, and you're not crazy if you feel like, I don't know, I can't tell when I'm hungry, like I don't really understand anymore. So I think there's a couple of questions to ask yourself to rule out the easy stuff. Is it rational that I should feel hungry right now? How long has it been since my last meal? Did I eat half an hour ago or has it been 3, 4, 5 hours? Now, the people that are all up in the fasting will make you think that if you're getting hungry every 4 hours or so, there's something wrong with you, right? Because you should be able to go, I don't know, 10, 20, 87 million hours without eating. And okay, if that's your thing and you're doing that, fine. But I think that feeling hungry every 3 is a little short of a window, every 4 or 5 hours. That's about normal, I think. So I don't think there's anything wrong if you are experiencing hunger or you're feeling a desire to eat that many hours after your last meal. If it's sooner than that, if it's been 1 hour or 90 minutes, maybe then what you ate at your last meal, you either didn't eat enough to keep you satisfied and keep you full for several hours, or the foods that you chose, maybe the amount was fine, but the combination of foods did something to you physiologically that is leaving you hungrier sooner than you would like to be. And that includes low carb foods. There might be foods that are perfectly fine for a low carb or keto diet, but your particular physiology, your particular constitution doesn't do quite as well with them. And so they're not keeping you satisfied and satiated for that long a time after you eat. So that's something to think of too. Then the another thing is to gauge, am I hungry, or is my brain tricking me into thinking that I need to eat? Is, let's see, I want to think of how I want to explain this. So we are now exposed to food everywhere in places and situations and contexts under which we did not used to be exposed to food. You go to the shoe store or the electronics store or the office supply store, and there's a candy aisle, for God's sake, at this point, right? There's like some of them have more than one aisle of food near the checkout. It's a shoe store. What are they selling food for? So anyway, we are confronted with food all the time that might be like, ooh, look at those jelly beans. Ooh, look at that chocolate. And it kind of gives a false signal that maybe we want to eat something. And of course, I think I said earlier about our appetite being absolutely hijacked by the modern food environment, by these ultra high sugar, ultra refined carb type products. And these foods might satisfy us in the moment, but they actually leave us more hungry later on, right? My friend Dr. Ted Naiman calls this negative satiety. These are foods that we eat that actually make us more hungry. They leave us less satiated. But the thing is, most of us aren't really eating those foods. If you're sticking to low carb keto, those foods are not really an issue because we're not eating them. But it's still, I want to talk about the issue of sugar cravings, because how do we differentiate actual physical hunger from that false head hunger sugar craving, or just carb craving? I say sugar, but it could be carbs. Like if sweets aren't your thing, maybe you crave bread or pasta or crackers or rice or something like that. So you could ask yourself, what do I feel like eating right now? And that will give you a pretty clear answer as to whether you're having physical hunger or you just want something carby. Because I used to say to people, ask yourself, am I hungry enough for a steak and broccoli right now? And if the answer is yes, well, that's real hunger. But if you don't want a steak and broccoli, but damn, that donut sounds real good, or wow, that package of 10 cookies looks great, well, then you just are craving sugar. But I don't want to limit you to asking yourself the question with a very, very specific kind of low carb food. Because I've been in this situation myself where I've asked myself this question, like, no, actually, I don't want a steak, but wow, I could really go for some salmon with crispy skin. Or like, man, I could really go for a pork chop right now. So that's still what we would call, and I hesitate to use this phrase, but real food, right? Like a fatty protein, a low carb food, or, maybe you could really go for an omelet or some bacon and eggs. So as long as the answer to the question, what could I go for right now, or what would satisfy me, is that sort of whole food, real food, low carb type, fatty protein, non-starchy vegetable food, you're probably actually hungry. But if none of that sounds good, but you want a donut, a cookie, a waffle, an ice cream cone, a sundae, I don't know what, a bowl of cereal with marshmallows in it, that's probably the craving. And it's usually, I know I just said like I didn't want to give you a specific food with the low carb because that might throw you off if you think, well, would I eat salmon right now? And your answer is no, but you would eat a pork chop. That's still hunger, even though your desire is for something more specific. I'm pointing that out because typically when you're having the head hunger and a craving, it is for something very, very specific. You want a chocolate bar. You want potato chips. You want barbecue potato chips, like not just any kind of chip. Or you want hot buffalo wing pretzels. Those are my downfall. Like, or you want chocolate peanut butter ripple ice cream. Like it's something very specific that you're wanting. So that's a good way to know that that's probably not hunger. That's your brain. Okay. Let's move on to the actual signals and sensations that I think you can look out for hunger. Of course, we have the stomach growling, the stomach making little noises, but keep in mind that that's not always automatically a sign that you need food, because your stomach will make lots and lots of noises while you're digesting the meal you just ate 15 minutes ago. So you just ate. So the fact that your stomach is making noise is not a signal that you need to eat, because you just did. But I hope you can kind of distinguish if it's been a few hours and your stomach is maybe making a little rumbling or something. For me, I also experience sometimes a, a feeling of emptiness in my stomach, but it's not uncomfortable. It's actually somewhat pleasant. It's a very light feeling, probably because I'm feeling empty. And it's just sort of, I wish I could come up with another word for it. It's just empty. But it's not uncomfortable unless it goes on and on and on. And then it really starts to become noticeable. And it's like, all right, time to go eat. The other, the other things to look out for, if you don't have those sort of more traditional quote unquote signals and sensations, because some of you won't get those. So other things that you can look out for include kind of starting to feel sleepy, like a low energy, and I would say not a brain fog, not brain fog like a sugar high brain fog or a sugar low brain fog, but more like a reduction in focus and concentration. Like sometimes if I'm working very intently on a writing project or something and I've been sitting there for a few hours just kind of working away, single-minded, I'll start to kind of drift. Like this project, oh, I'm kind of bored. I'm really not feeling this right now. What's going on over there? You know, what are they doing? That can be a sign that it's time to eat. Just that loss of focus and concentration. And it's not, but it's very different from that sensation that you might get from hypoglycemia, where, you know, that's more like a brain fog, can't, you know, even like a temporary memory loss, almost like you don't remember something that just happened a few minutes ago. It's just so overwhelming. The type of reduction in focus and concentration that I'm talking about is very different. It's much more mild, but it's noticeable. So it's noticeable, and you can start to like feel like, oh, I'm kind of dragging, kind of flagging, like, oh, well, yeah, it's been about 5 hours since I ate. You know, I've been so distracted, I've been so immersed in this project, I didn't realize how hungry I was getting. So that's something too. And I'm sure that there are many, many more. Those are the ones that come to mind first to me that I hope can help you. And, you know, if you have discovered other signals and sensations that help you gauge hunger, please leave a comment. You know, I'm sure it'll help somebody else out there as we read through the comments. And what else can I say about this? Maybe just to go back to the fasting thing, if you get hungry, you don't have to eat immediately, right? And forgive me, like I've had a long day, like maybe it's time for me to eat right now, in fact, but I honestly don't remember if I covered this earlier. I don't think I did. Hunger is not an emergency. So just because you feel hungry, and even if you recognize that you are hungry and it's the genuine real food hunger, that doesn't mean that you have to go eat. It's okay to let it build. Very often I will kind of feel that first hunger pang, and rather than reaching for a snack, I'll just let it build. Like I'll notice that I'm hungry. Oh, okay, I'm starting to get hungry, and I'll let it build until the hunger is big enough to eat an actual full meal. So rather than eating little bits, I would just prefer to have a meal. But there's no right or wrong. If you're a snacker, if you prefer to snack, you prefer to graze, that's fine too. And I know you'll hear in other places that that's a sin, the worst thing to do. You're doing it wrong if you need to snack, like you should only be eating 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day with no snacks. No. What you should do is what works best for you. What you should do is how you feel best and how you're accomplishing the results that you want. Whether that includes snacking or it doesn't include snacking or grazing or no grazing, there's no right or wrong. And the keto police can stuff it, frankly. To go back to those of you, again, who've had bariatric surgery, you can't really do 1 meal a day. You have to have small amounts more frequently, and that's totally fine. Just keep the carbs low, right? So I think that's going to be it for now. If you enjoy Keto Without the Crazy, if you like these real world tips that I hope are helpful, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Give the video a thumbs up, hit that little like button, and I think that's it for now. I am open to suggestions. If you have topics for videos that you would like me to cover, just leave a comment. I'll see it. I do try to look through the comments a lot more these days. And if you are hungry, go eat. Or if you're just a little bit hungry, do what I do and let it grow. Let it build and then go eat a meal. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next time.